Views expressed in the videos are my observation, analysis of events, persons based on principles of astrology. It's not my intent to predict, forecast absolute outcomes, only suggest how they may unfold. Nothing is set in stone. I could be wrong, but often I'm right. My desire is not to promote fear, only inform about what we see unfolding. It is our wish to prepare our subscribers for events that could affect them, their family, their goals, and their future, to help to prepare for what you may already suspect is happening, and to send a warning shot across the bow and raise a flag of concern. Our goal is to help, not hinder, in these perilous times, to inspire and offer possible direction, and to reveal that a greater plan and purpose are behind all that is happening. Eventually, we will see a brighter day. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work on these videos or this channel, and also the Knowing Whispers channel, you can always click on the word thanks at the bottom of all the videos. Hello everybody, it's Robert Cosmar of the Astrology of Life YouTube channel and the 3 Substack newsletters, Knowing Whispers, Messages from the Universe, Trump in America, and Ask the Astrologer. Today I'm going to take you on a journey, and I'm going to ask the question, can astrology predict war? I'm going to be taking you through several charts. There's about 12 of them. And they are either at the exact time of the declaration of war between the United States and a particular country, or in the situation of World War I and World War II. Or it is going to be charts that are pre to those times of conflict that were actually a buildup for the conflict that was to follow. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you 2 planetary aspects that I feel can give us some insight into when actual physical conflict and war can occur. Okay? And at the very end of this, I'm going to show you a chart for the United States of America in the future, okay, beyond 2024. I think this will be a real eye-opener for those of you that maybe are astrologers or that you are studying astrology, and for those of you that are not and do not and don't know much about astrology, it'll probably strike your curiosity because it really is fascinating. I'm going to start off here with the chart of the Revolutionary War. Some of these dates, there's not going to be a time, and again, as I mentioned earlier, some of them may be pre to the actual aspect that I'm referring to in this particular video. And what I'm talking about really are aspects between the planets Saturn and Pluto. Okay, Pluto and Saturn aspects, when you take a look at them, when you take a look at the events in a particular person's life or in a particular event that occurs, are very much a warlike type of aspect. You're talking about Saturn form, the accepted structure, the accepted belief system, the way things are, and then Pluto, the unexpected, comes in and they collide. And that collision is what we often call a battle or a war. Okay, so let's take a look here at the circumstances in the sky that were around Concord, Massachusetts on April the 19th, 1775. And I've used my little red arrows here to kind of point this out to you because this is where things get interesting. Now, in this particular chart, we don't have a hard aspect, and I have to emphasize that. In most of these charts, you're going to see hard aspects between Saturn and Pluto, okay? In this one, you don't, all right? But you do see a connection between Pluto and Saturn. It is a trine, all right? You also see a trine between Uranus and Saturn, all right? However, Pluto, all right, was squaring the Sun, okay, and Uranus was squaring Mars. And of course, when you're talking about Pluto squaring the Sun, you're talking about the situation of the Revolutionary War in general. It was to break away from England. Okay, so again, not very convincing at this point, other than the fact that we have a trine here between Pluto and Saturn. Okay, but it's going to get more interesting here. All right, the next chart that I'm showing you, okay, is the War of 1812. Okay, this was another situation where the United States went to war with England. Okay, and you will notice in this particular chart, there are two very interesting factors here. We have the same situation of Pluto squaring the Sun, okay, on this particular date, June the 13th, 1811, okay. But for the first time here in the series of charts that I'm showing you, Pluto does square Saturn, okay, in the chart of that day, all right. So again, kind of an ominous, warning here about these two particular planets and what they can represent and what we can see happen as a result of that. All right. Now, moving forward, all right, this is about a year or two before the Civil War. However, it is a period in which the South began to separate it from the North. Abraham Lincoln was elected president. He was basically anti-slavery, anti-secession from the Union. And look what starts to happen here. And of course, this aspect can last for months because it'll go retrograde and come back over it. You're seeing Pluto and Saturn are in a square at that time. And again, this is not the actual date that the war started. It started on April, I think, the 12th of 1861 in Charleston's Harbor with the attack upon the fort there. But the point is here is that the circumstances began to build, okay, in the late 1850s, all right? And we're seeing the influence, kind of an indirect but close enough influence of any aspect, hard aspect between Pluto and Saturn, okay? Now, let's take a look here at the actual Civil War itself. April the 12th, 1861, 4:30 a.m., Charleston's Harbor, when the South began to attack the North. And you can see here, there are several stressful aspects going on here, all right? Pluto conjuncting the Moon, okay? Uranus conjuncting Mars, Uranus squaring Saturn, Saturn squaring Mars, okay? Very contentious, combative energy here, okay? And again, we have some influence from Pluto, but we don't see the exact situation here of Pluto squaring, conjuncting, or opposing Saturn. But you're going to see a lot of it, okay? All right, moving forward here. It's the Spanish-American War, April the 21st, 1898, had to do with the blowing up of the battleship the Maine in Havana Harbor. All right, look what is going on here on that particular date. Transiting Pluto is opposing transiting Saturn, okay? And all of these are transiting to transiting planets. They're not transiting against the natal, okay? But again, as I've mentioned all along here to this point in the video, there is a signature here between Pluto and Saturn. When you see hard aspects between the two planets, all right, you can almost bet that somewhere, somehow, some conflict is going to break out somewhere. All right. Okay, let's move forward again here. All right, World War I. Okay, started on July the 28th, 1914. I think sometime after I think it was Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated or something like that. But look what's happening here. All right. It happened when transiting Pluto was conjunct transiting Saturn. Okay. And again, you see this over and over and over again. And we have 6 more charts that I'm going to show you here where Pluto and Saturn by transit are very noticeable at the actual event as it occurs, or pre-occurrence of that particular chart or of that particular event. All right, moving forward, World War II. What was going on in World War II? All right, September the 1st, 1939. And again, this is when Germany invaded Poland. All right, transiting Pluto was square transiting Saturn again. Okay, so it's getting a little bit interesting, isn't it? All right, that Pluto and Saturn, their relationship would say something about conflict. In some cases, global conflict. In other cases, it would be regional, or country against country type of conflict. Okay. All right. Next one, the Korean War. All right. This is another one that is not exactly dealing with Pluto and Saturn. Okay. But you still have the influence here of Uranus conjuncting the Sun and Uranus squaring Mars. All right. Indicating contention. Excuse me. Indicating some strife. All right. Now, moving forward again. All right. This is when many believe this war in Vietnam started. It is when there was some kind of a deal where Vietnam was released from some kind of a colonial type of rulership and divided in half. And then the two halves didn't get along, and the United States became involved with southern Vietnam in wanting to keep communism from spreading. Look what is happening here at this particular time, at that date. Transiting Pluto, squaring, transiting Saturn. Okay? Moving forward. All right? Now, March the 19th, 2003 is when the Iraqi war started. This is when the United States went over there. They took down Saddam Hussein. He was hung. All right? And look what is going on here on March the 19th, 2003. Transiting Pluto, opposing, transiting Saturn. Okay? It is definitely a signature, I hope those of you that are watching this that are not astrologers, but that are curious about astrology, will realize that astrology has a way of revealing certain patterns that occur over time. Okay, and it can reveal much more than that. All right, but it all depends upon an individual's relationship with their higher self and their guidance, and whether they have the patience and the passion to go through and look at all kinds of charts because they're curious about, is there a connection between the planets in the heavens and the events that seem to happen over and over again. Like this particular one is an expose on wars. Okay, and what is it astrologically that signifies that a war could occur, or that it would occur, or that it did occur? All right, so again, going forward, September the 11th, 2001, the day that terrorists attacked the Twin Towers and about 3,000 Americans were killed. Okay, what was going on that particular date? Again, transiting Pluto was opposing transiting Saturn. Okay, that's quite amazing, isn't it? To see transiting Pluto and transiting Saturn being a signature of conflict. In some cases, world wars. In other cases, it has to do with terrorist activity against countries and things of that particular nature, or a problem between one country and another, such as the Revolutionary War. Okay, and I think I have one more here to show you. Okay, this is the one in the future, because I was curious about this, because I knew Pluto and Saturn were very involved in what could occur. All right, so I took a look. I went through a search program to find a date in the future when Pluto and Saturn would have some kind of a relationship. And the date that came up in the search engine that I was looking at was June the 15th, 2028. That's about 4 years from now. This is when transiting Pluto will square transiting Saturn again. Okay, so based upon what you have seen, all right, I know that many people off and on over the last year or two, maybe the last 4 or 5 years, have worried about a world war because of Trump being in office and because of his flirtation with Kim Jong-un and also with Putin. But I feel pretty comfortable in saying that unless we have aspects between Pluto and Saturn of a hard nature, that it is unlikely that there's going to be total war bursting out all over the place in relationship to, the world or us. Now, obviously, the situation over in Russia and Ukraine is something that I didn't map on here because it didn't occur to me at that time. Maybe I'll take a look at that at some other time and make a assessment of that. But again, what I'm alerting you here too, okay, not to frighten you, not to scare you, but to show you that there are ways astrologically that you can assess the potential for possible conflict, okay, in the world or between countries or within a particular country itself. And time will bear that out. Right now, we are all kind of joyfully existing in the aura of the Democratic National Convention. You can see here possibly on the internet that Trump is starting again, okay, to get on that old fear line, okay, attacking Kamala Harris, attacking the Democrats, you name it. There'll be attempts, which we have talked about off and on, obviously around the election and prior to the election, to create problems with certification of the votes in the states. Okay, and I believe the Department of Justice and the Democratic Party are trying to do something about that, but it remains to be seen exactly how this is going to all pan out. And of course, we have our good, loyal, faithful Supreme Court waiting in the background unless something happens there, all right, to maybe come in and mess things up real good around the time of the election, all right. But this is pretty much it. And I hope that those of you that see this particular video will share your views, will comment, upon what I've showed you here, and maybe even comment on other conditions that you've seen astrologically where planetary combinations have indicated a pattern that is very consistent and something that, over and over again, like Pluto and Saturn, can reveal information for us about our life. Okay, if you take a look at a person's life, and you look at the natal planetary placements, and you look at the transits, and you take a look at what happened, let's say when they were maybe 12 years old. Okay, if those came back in to play again, which they would in some cases, down the road, you would probably see similar circumstances occurring, okay, in a particular person's life. And the great part about all of this is the fact that it reveals, astrology can reveal for a lot of people the why, okay? It can give you an understanding on a certain level of why things have happened again, all right? And there are many unanswered whys in our life from time to time. Personally, I feel like that to gain real insight, more so than just what astrology can reveal, this is where you have to go within. You have to establish a relationship with your guidance and your higher self, and you have to allow them to reveal to you those questions that maybe have been nagging at you most of your life because you don't consciously understand why something could happen. Okay, that's all I have to say today. I hope that you enjoy this video and you'll share it on the internet. All right. All right. Also, I want to mention here that over on Substack, not only do I have 3 newsletters over there that talk about Trump, astrology, and also higher awareness, but my partner CJ as well has 2 Substack newsletters. One's called CJ's World, and the other one's called CJ's Whispers of Knowing, where she shares what her guidance are sharing with her for your growth and for your own personal evolution. And we do hope that you'll visit us over there. Those of you that contribute, are members and supporters of the channel on YouTube, thank you so much. Those of you that give monthly donations or that give donations sporadically, it is appreciated. Okay, and we hope that this information also is helpful to you. Okay, from the love of my life, CJ, my spiritual partner, and from Riri, our fur child that you've seen before, we want to sincerely thank you, and we hope that the work that we're doing is helping to make it easier for you as you move forward during these very interesting and challenging times. All right. I hope you have a good week and a great weekend. Take care.